Ed here with the Digital Digest, and today I wanted to share a quick look at what I am possibly taking on the trip I'm about to embark on. So for those of you who follow my channel, you know I haven't been on a vacation in a really long time, and well, the day has finally come. And as you can see, I've got a lot of gear to choose from. Now, this isn't all of my gear. And yes, all of it was destroyed by Hurricane Matthew back in 2016, but as you can see, I've done some rebuilding. And with that said, those of you who look for what's in my gear bag, that sort of question, this will all be carried inside a backpack that I have. But in addition to that, I will be using a roll back here and grab it, a think tank, which this is my, at least, personal bag of choice, which I can do a separate video on, but that is not the focus of today's video, but rather the gear in front of you is. And excuse the audio, but I'm moving around and I'm not using a lav. Everyone always thinks I'm using something special to record, but I'm not. I mean, it's not a terrible microphone, but if you followed me over the years, you know my voice is my voice. So with that said, what are you looking at here? Well, okay, we've got right center stage, the full frame A7R Mark III, my favorite camera, hands down, but not always the camera that I'm going to have on me. It's a $3,200 body, but it is still best in class right now. Rilo was kind enough to send me this 360-degree 4K little wonder, which, without any stabilization, is going to give me some very interesting shots for those of you wondering what countries I'll be going to. I will be going to Italy, Greece, and Israel. So that is the lineup, quite a bit of traveling. I have the RX10 Mark IV, my favorite point-and-shoot bridge-style camera. Anyone that follows the channel knows this is a must-have for me because there are going to be days where I don't want to carry any of this, and I will just carry this. The same applies to the RX100 Mark V, basically the baby version of the RX10 Mark IV. These two I cannot go without. In addition to that, the A6500, Sony's still top of the line APS-C mirrorless interchangeable lens camera. Absolutely a must-have for me personally. You can see I've got some batteries right here to the right. I have two of the Z-type, the F100Zs, or FZ100, excuse me, batteries. I don't anticipate needing more simply because they do exceptionally well. I have picked up, as I did an unboxing, one of the McKay vertical grips instead of Sony's own grip. This does also come with a remote so that you can do time-lapse. I also have plenty of W batteries. Don't think for a second that that pile of two is all I've got, because I do have a lot more. And then a Watson charger. I have plates for every battery under the sun, and that's what I love about these Watson chargers. They, you can pick them up through B&H. I don't think Amazon carries them, but they give you versatility you're just not going to find with any other charger. Now, when it comes to glass, that's where things got a little tricky, but before I get to that, I also want to mention I am bringing the Feiyutech single-handed gimbal with me, just in case I do want to stabilize some of my footage. Of course, that's going to be difficult with something like the 28-135 that's right here in the center, and yes, I did pick up this lens cap simply because of the fit and finish being correct and Sony not providing one out of the box, because they really do depend on you or lean on you using their included lens hood, which I'm going to have to live with because I tried to experiment with a B&W 95mm threaded hood, but unfortunately that did cause vignetting, which was something I discussed with B&H prior to purchase, and it doesn't work until you get to about 35 millimeters, so that's out, going back to B&H. But again, focusing on the glass, we've got the Zeiss 24-70, the APS-C Sony 10-18, we've got the Zeiss 16-35 f4, we have the G series, as I mentioned, power zoom cine lens 28-135. I have what Sony just shipped me just in time for the trip, which is their really one of their most popular lenses right now, still back ordered everywhere, and that is the 24 to 105 f4. These are all full frame except for this little guy over here, the wide angle, which will pretty much live on the A6500. I've also got the Zeiss f1.8 55 millimeter, which I may or may not take. I'm still on the fence. And then last but not least, the biggest beast in the bunch, which is the G Master 100 to 400. So this is where things are at right now. It's intimidating. It's a lot of gear. I was contemplating bringing the A7 Mark III and my A7R Mark II, but the reality is, if I can't get it done with what you see here, well, then I'm just going to quit, quite frankly, because this is a lot of stuff. Now, I'm not showing you the laptop I'm bringing along. I'm not showing you, obviously, external storage. I've got a 4 terabyte portable drive that's not so fast, a Western Digital, as well as a Samsung, NVMe portable drive, which obviously is a lot faster, but 500 gigs, and then plenty of SD cards sitting inside this Pelican case ready to go. Highly recommend this. If you haven't picked one up, $20 goes a long way in protecting your SD cards. But that pretty much covers all of the gear. And, I may whittle this list down, but that's where things stand now. If I had to pull something out right now, in my mind, the Zeiss 24 to 70 would probably be the first thing I would take off the table. It might be the only thing I take off the table. Keep in mind also the assembly of the entire gimbal for the Feiyu Tech A2000 is not there, just the handle, but that's because, quite frankly, I can't fit any more in this shot. As you may have noticed, it's taking over the entire desk. But this is what it is. This is what I'll be traveling with. If you have any, comments you'd like to make about it, any suggestions, I'm always open, my ears and eyes, always looking to learn, even though I'm also looking to teach as much as I possibly can, or I should say impart as much knowledge as possible. Anyone who subscribes to my channel already knows that's what I'm all about. And right now, this is where it's at for me. Yes, do I have more in the stable? Yeah, I still have the F4 70 to 200, but obviously don't see a need for that. In fact, I could make the argument I don't need both of these, but I kind of do, because I'm not sure which is going to be living on the A7R Mark III as of right now. I'll find out when I come back. And again, convenience cameras, convenience camera, unique one, that really does set the standard for the 360-degree experience, especially VR. I mean, it's just crazy what the Rilo can do. I'll end up with a full review when I get back from the trip on that. But that pretty much sums things up. So what's in my gear bag? You got a pretty good look, although it will be split across 2 gear bags, as you can imagine, and insured as well. As I always recommend anyone traveling with this type of gear, any pro, amateur, whatever you are, if you're carrying this much kit, you better make sure you cover your, well, for lack of a better word, shit. Any questions or comments, please feel free to post them. Hit that like button, and as usual, please feel free to subscribe. Later.